Sword Art Online Alicization is the newest and arguably best arc of the anime to date. Now, this isn't to say it's amazing and you gotta watch it or you're missing some truly phenomenal writing. That's never been SAO's strong suit. On the contrary, SAO is full of issues and plot holes and poor writing that results in forced character development. I mean, come on, in the first arc, Liz meets this dude who's being a complete dick, and the next day she's yelling at him that she loves him while they're falling through the sky towards a dragon's nest. And this crush happens between an episode where this dragon girl falls for him and is followed up by Asuna falling for him. That's some bad character development that really makes SAO feel like a mix between a harem and shonen anime. The guy is drowning in cleavage, but the vast majority of the fanbase doesn't care. Except me, I kinda like it. They come back for one thing. Kazuto Kirigaya, who's typically referred to by his online alias, Kirito. In the first arc, we wanted him to beat SAO. We see Kirito go through the pain and suffering of loss. We see him completely isolate himself due to fear and eventually overcome this fear through love. In the second arc, we follow Kirito's story to save Asuna. We watch him learn and adapt to a new environment, to bring together groups of people to take on an impossible task, and get out of an extremely incestuous situation. Despite the unnecessary sister infatuation, we've seen Kirito go through many phases. But Alicization brings out a fresh view of the series. In fact, Alicization brings up many questions that not only relate to the anime, but to our own lives. Sword Art Online is finally giving us something to think about, something to ponder. And this comes through the introduction of Kirito's new BFF. Eugeo is the plot device pushing the main story of Alicization. And it's his actions, his struggle, that gives the show depth and character. We're finally watching a protagonist who isn't perfect, but is in fact inherently flawed, who is learning and growing through watching our OP, pure of heart protagonist, but Eugeo isn't that archetype. Despite SAO being centered around Kirito, it's Eugeo who brings about the true struggle within this story. And that's what I want to talk about today. Your time in the limelight has come to an end, Kirito. So prepare yourself for a deep dive into this newest arc and what it's saying, for the most expressive and important season of SAO to date, for a story of love and loss and acting on what you think. No, what you know is right. This is the story of Sword Art Online Alicization. The story you never knew. That intro gets me riled up. If it's your first time seeing that, then you obviously haven't gone to our new anime channel, Bonsai Pop. We've got 3 amazing videos for you on there. A story you never knew on Cowboy Bebop, an in-depth look at ReZero, and just today we released a video on the super messed up but extremely addictive anime, The Promised Neverland. We're incredibly proud of everything we've done on that channel so far. It's our newest passion project and we think you'll like it too. So if anime is your speed, go check it out. Bonsai Pop is 100% anime 100% of the time. And it's where we will put our anime content from this day forward. The link is in the description. Now let's get back to SAO. If you've watched up to the most recent episode, then you know 2 things. Number 1, Eugeo is just as, if not more important a character than Kirito in Alicization. And number 2, Kirito obviously feels left out. He's really trying to compensate with that sword, if you know what I mean. My sword is so big right now! But besides Kirito's sword changing length, it's obvious that Eugeo is playing a role that no other character has ever had in SAO. Eugeo is a primary protagonist, and it's through his experiences, through his view of the Underworld, that Alicization finds its meaning. But let me back up a bit. If you aren't all caught up with SAO Alicization, I'll try not to spoil anything major. However, consider this a content warning if you want to go in completely blind. Otherwise, feel free to keep watching. Alicization begins with Kirito working for a private enterprise called Wrath. His job is to test out the 4th generation experimental full drive machine, which is called the Soul Translator. Kinda a strange name, but it makes more sense later on. Kirito remains in the full drive for days at a time, and his memories of everything he experiences within the drive are blocked as an added security measure. So basically, he's getting paid to play in a virtual world, but has no memories of that world. However, the company isn't actually testing the full drive itself. They're creating a special type of artificial intelligence for military use. A copied soul of a newborn baby is being used as a template for creating AI, hence the name Soul Translator. The AI they created previously were far too compliant to rules and laws to be of use to the military. So Kirito's involvement in the world acts as an influence on the AI populace to test why residents are unable to break the rules, known as the Taboo Index. After 11 years of accelerated time, Kirito's influence eventually leads to his friend Alice breaking one of the rules of the Taboo Index. Kirito then returns to the real world, where he and Asuna are attacked by the last remaining Laughing Coffin member. Kirito protects Asuna, but is injected with succinylmethonium chloride, a lethal drug or awesome sex position depending on the context. Kirito's heart literally stops due to the injection, and he suffers heavy brain damage because of the lack of oxygen. Although the doctors are able to restart his heart, this event placed him in a coma. Kirito's body is secretly kidnapped from the hospital and brought to an even more secret base for the super secret project of treating his brain injury with the Soul Translator. Hooray for plot devices! Since the Soul Translator is able to treat his brain, Kirito's adventure begins in the Underworld. Only now he remembers his time in the real world but cannot recall any of his memories during the Underworld testing. The main plot continues within the Underworld. We're only sporadically given information about the outside world through Asuna, who's reached boring waifu level 100 and only fulfills the role of letting us know where and why Kirito is in the machine. Basically, just like in every arc after the first one, she's irrelevant and is only used to accentuate and fill in Kirito's story. Again, SAO isn't known for its amazing storytelling.
What's the point? Why did you do this?
That's a good question. It's been so long, I've forgotten the reason.
Grade A writing right there. The Underworld is set before us as a real world in any sense of the word. These people Kirito meets are AI based from a soul template. They're human, despite being virtual. And because they're human, they have real human emotions and feelings. Enter Eugeo. Eugeo is a sexy lumberjack, not as much of a hunksicles Master Chief, but he's working on it. His calling, or his life's purpose, is to chop down a really big tree. His ancestry has been chopping this one tree for generations, and they will continue to chop this one tree for generations to come. It's a really big, long, hard tree that eventually is used to make Kirito's sword. Now you know why his sword is always growing. It's literally morning wood! I digress. There are a few important parts to Eugeo and Kirito's story in the Underworld. The first comes right after Alice breaks the Taboo Index. An Integrity Knight comes to take her away, question her, and then kill her. Kirito, unaffected by the Underworld's programming, fights to free Alice, but when Eugeo tries to help, he is literally stopped in his tracks. His programming won't allow him to break a rule, so he stands helplessly, a system alert burned into his eye, as he watches his best friend be taken away to be killed. This system alert within a character's right eye happens multiple times throughout the show, and each time it's vitally important. Glossing over a bunch of details, Eugeo and Kirito find themselves in training to become Integrity Knights. Their pages are being sexually assaulted by two other knights in training, both of noble descent. According to the Taboo Index, a commoner like Eugeo must follow the orders of a nobleman. So Eugeo is frozen in place, watching these two pages get raped by these two men. Eugeo's horror and anger bubbles up. The system alert returns to his eye, but he pushes himself to disobey the order, eventually bursting his eye in defiance. This frees him from the system's rules, allowing him, with Kirito's help, to save the girls. However, both Kirito and Eugeo broke the Taboo Index to save them. There's nothing in the Taboo Index about rape, but killing is a big no-no, and so they are taken to be executed. That's really all the story we need to understand what Alicization is trying to say. In this world, Kirito can do as he pleases. He's not controlled by the system, but Eugeo is. For Eugeo to break free from those shackles brings up a question that is as real in the game as it is in real life. The question of ethics. If a law is unjust, is it okay to break it? Ethical dilemmas are a central theme, specifically to Alicization. What is wrong? what is right? What is good? What is bad? This world is governed by the Taboo Index, a forced set of laws that everyone must obey. Even if you break a law for a good reason, like stopping two girls from being harmed, you are labeled a criminal. To be fair, cutting off a dude's arm so he can't jack it does seem a bit criminal. The series is posing questions regarding ethics and artificial intelligence. How can we, as a society on the edge of advanced AI, create intelligence that correctly understands and comprehends ethical dilemmas when a large portion of our society still has issues making the correct choices every day? Unfortunately, the plot had to go about showing ethical dilemmas through the most blatant good versus bad choice imaginable. Obviously, you want to save the girls from being assaulted. Yes, that's the correct thing to do. Ethical dilemmas are often much more difficult.
Would you steal bread to feed your family? Boom!
Thank you, Andy. That's a real ethical dilemma. On one hand, you want to provide for your family. On the other hand, stealing is wrong. So what is the correct choice? SAO doesn't allow for any competition as to what is good. Assault is bad. Stopping assault is good. It's obvious. But the ethical questions SAO puts forth are really complementary to understanding the entire series' primary theme. The theme that the power of the human will is superior to any system. If we ethically perceive a system as flawed, unjust, or incorrect, we hold the power to destroy it. Of course, the human will ties effortlessly into the idea of ethics. At the end of the day, we decide what's virtuous and what isn't. But they also have the human will, the most powerful tool to act on that moral compass and mold the world into something new. Throughout SAO, Kirito's character has been used as a device to show this idea. His fight with Heathcliff in Aincrad is a perfect example. Kirito should have died. In fact, he did. We see him fall to virtual pieces, only to reassemble to stay intact long enough to win the game. That was sheer power of the human will, beating the system despite its rules. The same thing happened in Alfheim. When Kirito is at his lowest, sword plunged through his stomach as Asuna gets molested by Oberon, Akihiko Kayaba comes to him and says this:
"Then you are giving up to the power of a system you once defied."
What choice do I have? I'm just a player, and he's the GM.
Then our battle was, what, a joke? Do you remember how you showed me the power of the human will was superior to the system? How you showed me the possibilities of the future?
And with those words, Kirito struggles to his feet, turns the tables on Oberon, and saves Asuna. The Alicization arc is the most integral part to this theme, because this time it isn't Kirito. It's a blank slate, a copied soul named Eugeo, a template that was raised in a virtual environment. We've always known Kirito can beat the system. He has over and over again. The show has us believing Kirito is special, that he is the hero who can make those choices. But Alicization aims to prove that any human will is superior to any system, even if that will is created artificially. Eugeo's battle with the Underworld system, his defiance to the point of bursting his eye, shows just how strong a human can be. He saw a system that was unjust, that hurt those people he cared about. And even though it was against the laws, he acted, he protected, and broke through an oppressive system. This theme is what has carried SAO through every arc, but more importantly, it holds true in the real world. It's how revolutions changed societal classes. It's how slavery was ended. It's how we mold a bigger and better future for ourselves. The human will is stronger than any system, virtual or real. When we know something is ethically wrong, humans have the strength to act, to stand up for what's right, to put ourselves in harm's way to protect those we care about. History has shown over and over again that we will break a system if the system is wrong. Monarchy, slavery, racism, sexism, homophobia, all these issues are brought forward and fought against because we have the will to break them. Some of them we've broken, some we're still in the process of destroying. We don't back down just because something is the status quo. That is the reality behind Sword Art Online, the theme that holds the story together. And this arc, Alicization, is where the story finally proves that anyone can do it. Not just some crazy overpowered protagonist. If Eugeo, an AI created from a copied newborn soul, can overcome internal programming to do what's right, then you can too. Every individual has the power to go against what the aristocracy say is right, to accomplish what we know is right. That's the story of Sword Art Online Alicization. The story of Kirito's journey from Aincrad to the Underworld and beyond. The story you never knew. And that's my take on SAO Alicization. Personally, I'm over the moon the show decided to branch out into deeper themes. But that's not all I'm excited about. Since you've made it this far, you should check out our new video on the Promised Neverland we've got over on Bonsai Pop. Bonsai Pop, our new YouTube channel, is 100% anime 100% of the time. The Promised Neverland is one of the newest hypes around anime. It's magical, it's profound, it's gross, it's disturbing, and all that's why we decided to make a video on it. We've also got this dope story never knew on Cowboy Bebop. Check him out. I'm Grant. I'll see you over at Bonsai Pop. Bye!